I discovered my son-in-law's shocking plan at midnight, and now it's transformed my life forever. Laura wiped flour from her hands as the last rays of sunlight slipped away, leaving her quaint little bakery bathed in the warm glow of overhead lights. The scent of freshly baked pastries swirled around her, a comforting reminder of happier times spent with her late husband. They had built this place together, a dream that now felt like a lifeline. But tonight was different. As she prepared to close up, she noticed her son-in-law, Jake, on the phone, his voice low and urgent. Curiosity tugged at her. She had always thought of Jake as the silver spoon kid, raised in luxury, far removed from her world of flour and grit. But what he was saying made her heart quicken. We can completely revolutionize the way families like yours thrive. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, but the words hung in the air, uninvited yet captivating. Laura's chest tightened. How dare he assume he could swoop in with his privilege and save her? She had fought through grief, sweat, and tears to keep this bakery alive. And now he wanted to rewrite the story? Images of her late husband danced in her head, his encouraging smile, the way he had believed in her when no one else did. Was this Jake's idea of support? Emily, her daughter, emerged from the back room, eyes wide, catching the tail end of Jake's plans. The tension in the air was palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. Torn between her husband's ambition and her mother's pride, she bit her lip. Memories flashed, her late-night talks with Laura, shared struggles, and laughter that filled their home like the aroma of freshly baked bread. "Mom, maybe Jake's just trying to help," Emily started, her voice soft. But Laura could feel the anger boiling within her. How could her daughter even consider siding with him? Before long, misunderstandings snowballed, sparks flying in this heated debate. "You think it's that easy, don't you?" Laura snapped, fists clenched. "You think you can change our lives with a business plan?" Each word was a dagger, laden with years of silent struggle. "Laura, I want to make things better for families like ours," Jake countered, his face a mix of frustration and earnestness. "You don't have to fight this alone." Then silence, heavy and suffocating. Laura's heart raced. She felt trapped between her deep-seated pride and the flicker of hope Jake offered. Just when she thought the conversation was lost, a sudden knock at the door broke through the tension. As she opened it, a wave of community clamor rushed in. Neighbors gathering for a community event, a celebration for the very small businesses that kept the town alive. Maybe Jake's vision wasn't so far-fetched after all. That night, surrounded by familiar faces, their cheers and encouragement ignited something within her. Laura stood tall, a symbol of resilience, a flicker of recognition spiraling through the crowd, igniting her spirit. Maybe her struggle and Jake's ambition could intertwine rather than collide. Yet as the festivity continued, the question loomed. What is true success? Could she set aside her pride? As the evening deepened and anxiety thudded in her chest, Laura faced a choice that could change everything. Would she grasp the lifeline being offered or cling to the past? The night felt endless, each tick of the clock amplifying her swirling thoughts, leaving her breathless with uncharted possibilities. Laura stood at the heart of her bustling bakery, surrounded by laughter and chatter, but her mind was a whirlwind. Each voice faded into a distant murmur, as she felt the weight of conflicting emotions bearing down on her. Could she truly consider collaborating with Jake? The very thought felt like betrayal, not just to her late husband's memory, but to the spirit of everything they'd built together. As the festivities continued, her eyes drifted towards Jake. He was smiling and chatting with several locals, effortlessly blending into their warmth. She hated how easily he had charmed them, but as she watched, she noted the genuine enthusiasm in his gestures, the kindness in his words. He was indeed trying to help, wasn't he? The thought unraveled a knot of resentment in her heart, revealing a thread of skepticism, woven with a twisted sense of hope. "Laura." The call snapped her back to reality. It was Mrs. Thompson, an elderly customer whose coffee she'd served for years. "What do you think of Jake's idea? He says we can make the bakery a hub for community events." The question pierced her heart. A hub? It sounded grand but also terrifying. "I don't know, Mrs. Thompson. It's complicated. Change can be a good thing, dear," she replied gently. "It's how we grow." Those words struck a chord deep within Laura. Grow. The very essence of her bakery, of her late husband's dreams. Yet the fear of losing control gnawed at her. Was it really growing if it meant changing what she cherished? As the evening progressed, her insecurities simmered beneath the surface. Excited laughter echoed through the bakery, but every laugh felt like an echo of expectation. People were interested in Jake's ideas. They didn't see the mountain she climbed to keep the business alive. They hadn't watched her pore over numbers or face the risk of closing her doors forever. Would joint efforts mean sacrificing her values for the sake of pleasing others? Mom, come take a look. Emily's voice broke through her thoughts again, urging her to join the gathering crowd by the pastry display. The vibrant array of colors and aromas drew her in, but what she saw made her heart race. A small group of children eagerly sampling homemade cookies, their faces lighting up like Christmas morning. Make sure we get the chocolate chip. One piped up and laughter followed. A trepidation filled Laura. These kids, her community. Did they need her bakery to be more than what it was? Could Jake's vision provide a platform for his growth while preserving her legacy? Suddenly, Jake caught her gaze and walked over. What do you think? He asked, the earnestness in his eyes pleading for her support. We can bring the community together. Just imagine what we could do. Laura opened her mouth to protest, a torrent of fears almost escaping. Instead, she clamped down, struggling with the truth she feared. What if Jake was right? What if she let her pride go just enough to allow her to heal? I don't know, Jake, she exhaled finally, her voice trembling. I'm afraid. His expression softened. We can tackle fear together, Laura. You don't have to be alone in this. And there it was again, that flicker of hope amidst the chaos. Laura took a deep breath, torn between the past she held tightly and the future Jake envisioned. As the voices of her town filled her ears, she felt a swell of uncertain excitement. Perhaps tonight would be the first step toward something new. Something that transcended her fears if she would only be brave enough to grab hold of it. Would she bridge the gap between her past and Jake's dreams? Or would she retreat into the safety of what once was? The choice loomed heavy, every lingering question echoing through the warmth of the bakery. That night, as the last customers filtered out and the lights dimmed, Laura felt a resolution begin to form. She needed to dig deep, yet the road ahead was paved with uncertainty. Could she truly accept help and allow her past to shape a brighter future? Or would fear continue to shackle her spirit? The sun peeked through the bakery's window, casting a warm glow over the countertops where flour dust still lingered from the previous night. Laura wiped down the tables, her mind racing with thoughts from the celebration. Everything felt different now. It wasn't just the bakery, it was her life, her choices, and her future. She could still hear Jake's voice, the way it trembled with hope and determination. Mom, are we really going to make changes? Emily asked, entering with a bright smile, her arms laden with fresh pastries from the previous night. The excitement in her daughter's eyes was infectious. Laura paused, considering the question carefully. I don't know yet, Em. It's complicated. She felt the weight of the bakery pressing against her chest. What if we made it better? Emily asked, her youthful passion bubbling over. What if we made it a place for everyone? You could teach classes. I could help. The idea sparked a flicker in Laura's heart. She had always loved sharing her knowledge with others. The excitement in Emily's voice reminded her of the dreams they had once discussed. Creativity bubbled in Emily, much like dough rising in a warm oven. That could be fun, Laura admitted, glancing out the window at the sleepy street beginning to wake up. But it's a big change. Not if we take it step by step, Emily replied, her tone persuasive. We can always try it out. What have we got to lose? Her words hung in the air, challenging Laura's fears. She took a deep breath and nodded slowly, her heart racing with a strange mixture of hope and anxiety. Okay, let us meet with Jake. See what he has in mind. The decision felt monumental, like the first time she had opened the bakery doors. A surge of adrenaline coursed through her. Could she really do this? Just then the bell over the door chimed and in walked Jake, hands stuffed in his pockets, his easy smile lighting up the room. Morning, ladies. I hope you're ready for some excitement because I've got a few ideas brewing. Jake's energy was contagious. Laura couldn't help but smile back. Emily and I were just talking about your vision. Laura's voice was steady but filled with curiosity. What exactly did you have in mind? Jake's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. Picture this. A community baking day every month. Families come in, we provide the ingredients, and everyone creates their own treats. It could strengthen bonds and fill the bakery with joy and laughter. Emily clapped her hands. That sounds amazing. Laura felt a twinge of unease, but also something else: excitement. It was a chance to breathe life into the bakery. And classes? Laura ventured, pushing through her doubt. Teaching kids and adults alike how to bake? Yes, we could have parents and kids learn together. Could be a whole experience. Jake leaned against the counter, radiating confidence. And maybe a monthly cookie contest for the town? A small part of Laura wanted to resist, to pull back into her shell. But one tea that take too much time and energy? Jake looked straight at her. The right ideas take effort, Laura, but they're worth it. And you wouldn't be alone. You'd have your daughter, the community, and me right there beside you. Laura's heart beat rapidly at the prospect. She envisioned laughter, flower-covered faces, and the warm sense of baked goods wafting through the air, a community united in sweetness. As they talked, hope began to rise within her like dough left to rise. Could it really work? What would her late husband think? The thoughts battled within, yet a spark of possibility began to illuminate her heart. Let us do it, she finally said, her voice steady. Let us start small and see where this journey takes us. Emily squealed in delight, and Jake's face broke into a triumphant grin. They made plans, jotted down ideas, and the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Much like flour transforming into dough, Laura felt her doubts beginning to soften under the heat of possibility. But as they discussed, a sudden realization struck her. Change wouldn't just transform the bakery, it would challenge everything she had held true. Could she truly shake off the past, embrace the future, and faith in them? As the discussions continued, Laura felt a weight lifting, but new questions emerged. What if the changes unraveled feelings she wasn't ready to face? The risk of opening up, could it lead to healing, or would it tear her further apart? They planned their first community day and the excitement grew. Yet a voice within reminded her of how fragile dreams could be. Would she truly step into the bright, unknown future? Or would her past keep pulling her back, deepening the shadows of doubt? With thoughts swirling, they prepared to unlock the bakery door. But Laura's heart raced as she wondered. Could this really be her fresh start? Or would new fears creep in, threatening to unravel everything? The sun climbed higher, casting playful shadows on the bakery floor as Laura, Emily, and Jake stood gathered around the countertops, reviewing a colorful array of ideas sketched on paper. Well, Jake said, tapping a pencil against his chin, if we're going to kick off this community baking day, we need to hammer out the details. Activities, themes, and most importantly, how to draw people in. Emily's eyes glittered. What if we got local schools involved? They have art programs. We could partner with them. How cool would it be to combine baking with art? Great idea, Jake exclaimed, and Laura felt the warmth of enthusiasm wrap around them. The notion of community felt like a warm blanket, soothing her jittery thoughts. What about seasonal themes? Laura added. We could do Halloween cookies, Thanksgiving pies, or summer fruit tarts. She aimed to sound confident, yet there was an edge of uncertainty in her voice. The trio bounced ideas off one another, the room alive with laughter and inspiration. Time melted away, and just for a moment, Laura allowed herself to envision the bakery filled with laughter and chatter, a space overflowing with life, creativity, and warmth. As the plans took shape, the outside world faded. But eventually there would be a need to face it. Okay, we'll need posters, flyers, and a way to promote this. Laura's mind raced. She could see the task chart blossoming in her head. Yet seconds later, doubt cascaded through her heart. What if no one showed up? The quiet streets by the bakery often echoed the solitude she had felt since her husband passed. Mom? Emily's voice cut through her thoughts, grounding her. Are you okay? Laura looked at her daughter, whose earnest expression rekindled her determination. I'm just thinking. If this works, it'll change everything. For all of us. That's the point. Jake chimed in. Change is scary, but it's also exciting. We can make something beautiful together. He glanced at Emily, who nodded vigorously. You won't be alone, remember? Emily said gently. We're a team. Touched by their unwavering belief, Laura felt the specter of apprehension lift slightly. Okay, that's right. We'll take it step by step. Just then, a peal of laughter drifted in from outside, the sound of children at play. Without thinking, Laura moved to the window and peered out. Kids raced by, carefree and gleeful, a reminder of what was lost but more importantly, what could be gained. "Can you hear that?" she whispered, a smile breaking through her earlier tension. "That's exactly what we want to create." "It won't just be baking," Jake added, his voice steady. "It's about making memories, building connections." "Exactly." Laura felt a thrill of purpose lifting her spirits. But just as she settled into hope, a wave of concern washed over her. Could their little bakery truly become a beacon in the community? What if the past, the heartache that whispered fears to her every time she sought joy, lingered still, creeping back to take hold when she least expected it? "Let us organize a meeting for our first community day," Jake suggested, snapping Laura from her reverie. "We'll invite everyone, neighbors, families, maybe even the local press. Get the buzz going." "Sounds ambitious," Laura replied, her heart racing with uncertainty. But what if the words hung in the air, trembling on the edge of fear? "What if they don't come?" Emily finished, an understanding in her voice. "But what if they do?" Before Laura could respond, the door swung open. The bell chimed loudly, jarring them all. In stepped Mrs. Roberts from down the street, the town's unofficial mayor and a woman known for her fierce community spirit. "Hello, darlings," she called, her warm presence filling the space. "I heard a rumor about some exciting changes at the bakery. Is it true?" Her smile was infectious, prompting Laura's heart to skip, just a little. "We're brainstorming a community baking day," Emily announced, beaming with pride. Mrs. Roberts' eyes lit up like twinkling fairy lights. "That sounds delightful. I will help spread the word." Laura's heartbeat quickened. This was their chance, an opportunity to break free from the remnants of sorrow that clouded her days. But it also opened a door, revealing the weight of the past that hung just a breath away. As the planning continued, Laura embraced the warmth of hope, yet shadows lingered, waiting. What if trying to harness the light only brought more darkness? The community baking day loomed ahead, promising change, but as anticipation grew, so did the fear of what it might unearth within her. Would she bravely navigate the journey ahead? Or would the past pull her back just when she thought she was moving forward? And as Laura smiled, lost in the laughter and the chatter, the question remained. Would the power of renewal be enough to mend her heart and stitch together the fabric of her family? Or would it reveal deeper wounds that had yet to heal? As the sun dipped lower, painting the bakery in shades of amber, Laura found herself standing in the middle of a whirlwind of activity. Flyers fluttered from the counters as she and the team prepared for the first community baking day. Jake was busy drafting an email to the local schools, while Emily was busy creating colorful posters adorned with illustrations of cookies, pies, and happy faces. "They're perfect." Emily turned to Laura, hands dusted with pastel chalk. "Can you see it?" Everyone coming together, decorating cookies, laughing, creating. Laura smiled, the bright energy around them lifting the weight on her chest, even if just slightly. "It really is going to be special, isn't it?" But beneath her joy was still a persistent voice, a whisper that reminded her of the lonely evenings spent staring at the walls of the bakery, longing for the days when everything felt whole. Just then, the door burst open, and in rushed Mr. Thompson, the elderly gentleman from across the street. "I heard there's going to be some kind of fun over here," he exclaimed, a beaming grin spreading across his face. Emily's eyes sparkled. "Yes, we're having a community baking day. You should come." Mr. Thompson adjusted his wide-brimmed hat, a hint of mischief dancing in his blue eyes. "I might just show up. If I can bring my secret recipe for blueberry muffins, that is." "Oh, yes please." Laura couldn't help but laugh. "The more the merrier. Your muffins are legendary." As Mr. Thompson floated back out, Laura felt a glimmer of joy. Each friendly face that entered sparked a new thread of hope within her. Yet lurking in the background was the shadow of fear. What if something came up that day? What if their efforts fell short? "I can take care of the social media," Emily offered, tearing her gaze from the posters to Laura. "We can create a buzz on Instagram. People love seeing food, especially baked goods." "Great idea." Jake nodded vigorously, scribbling notes. Pictures of the kids baking, everyone having a good time, that'll draw people in for sure. The more they discussed plans, the less Laura felt the familiar specter of grief tighten its hold. Still, as she looked at her daughter, she realized how much the success of the day depended on her being present, a challenge given her past. Can we talk about, later? Laura ventured. Almost tentatively, Jake and Emily paused, sensing the shift in energy. You mean after the event? Emily asked gently. Yeah, I want us to really be together that day. I don't want to let my fears take over, she replied, the tremor in her voice laying bare the uncertainty she still felt. Mom, you're not alone in this. Jake reassured her. We're a team. And we want this just as much as you do. Brimming with gratitude, Laura felt the corners of her mouth lift. You're right, I'll focus on the joy. Just then, the door creaked open, and in walked dozens of eager kids from the nearby school, their laughter exploding like fireworks. We heard about the baking day. A boy shouted, eyes wide with excitement. Look at this. Emily jumped up, waving to them. We've got cookie decorating. Want to help? With a roar of enthusiasm, the kids stormed in, and Laura watched as the once quiet bakery transformed into a hub of chaos and laughter. Old fears danced at the edges, but in that moment, she saw possibility. She saw community. As Emily handed out supplies, Jake was teaching a group how to roll dough. The scenes unfolded like a dream, filled with laughter, flour, and the occasional burst of childlike giggles. Laura found herself standing back, taking it all in. It was like looking in a mirror. Behind each eager face was a piece of her own longing, a desire for connection, for belonging. But as she joined in, helping a little girl with her frosting skills, she couldn't shake the feeling that this day would mean more than just baking. And then, as if on cue, a hush fell over the group. A moment of silence in the chaos, as Laura felt the eyes of the children on her. They were waiting, curious and expectant. Taking a deep breath, she smiled brightly. Okay, everyone. Are you ready to make some memories? The cheers rang out, echoing in the bakery. Yet somewhere deep within, fear clawed at her. What if her heart couldn't support the weight of their joy? And as Laura joined in the excitement, a thought clenched her stomach. Could this celebration spark not only change in the community but a profound transformation in her own heart, too? Would the courage they found together be enough to guide her out of darkness and toward the warmth of new beginnings? The laughter and cheers of the children enveloped Laura like a warm blanket, comforting yet bittersweet. She watched the little ones as they enthusiastically spread rainbow sprinkles across their cookies, their hands adorned with flour like badges of victory. In that moment, the sight was intoxicating. The bakery was alive, pulsing with energy and creativity. She felt Jake's hand on her shoulder, bringing her back to the present. Mom, look, he exclaimed, pointing at a group of kids making a tower of cookie sandwiches. They're getting so into it. This is amazing. Laura's heart swelled as she turned to him, soaking in the joy radiating from his face. It was hard not to smile, even as the familiar weight inside her chest lingered. She pushed it aside for now. Today wasn't about her worries, but just as she settled back into the buzz of the room, the bakery door swung open once again. This time it was Ms. Roberts, the local school principal, stepping into the whirlwind of activity. What a fantastic turnout! She called out, glancing around at the chaos, her eyes wide with delight. Thank you for coming. Laura welcomed her, feeling the pride swell as she noticed her making her way through the throngs of children, greeting everyone with warmth. I wouldn't miss it. My students couldn't stop talking about it, Ms. Roberts replied, kneeling to help a child pouring icing on a cookie. We need more events like this, truly. It strengthens our community. Laura nodded, reflecting on how powerful that thought was. This was more than just baking. It was about building connections and creating memories. A fleeting thought crossed her mind. How long had it been since she felt a deep sense of community? Can I take some pictures for the school's newsletter? Ms. Roberts asked, beaming at Laura. Absolutely, Laura responded, excitement bubbling inside her. Let us capture all these beautiful moments. Jake jumped in, snapping photos of playful expressions, warm smiles, and the occasional frosting fight that erupted among the children. Each click of the camera felt like a step toward building something bigger, something healing. Time seemed to fly by, the hours melting together as the children decorated, laughed, and shared stories about their favorite treats. As the sun made its way down, the bakery, aglow with soft golden light, began to feel like a second home. But in the back of her mind a question stirred, nagging at her, would this fleeting joy last? Then amid the laughter, a girl named Lily approached Laura, cookie in hand, frosting expertly applied. Miss Laura, Can I help you make something special? She asked, her eyes sparkling with sincerity. Of course, Lily. What do you have in mind? Laura replied, her heart lifting. A giant cookie. Like a cookie cake, Lily exclaimed. Encouraged by her enthusiasm, they gathered ingredients together, Lily leading the way. The girls measured out flour while Laura mixed it all in. With every scoop, Laura felt a warmth blooming in her heart. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the back of the bakery, followed by laughter and shouts. Laura turned quickly, her heart racing. Her initial thought was panic, but as she caught sight of the children pouring out giggles, a wave of relief washed over her. Okay, let us keep it together, guys, she called out, half joking. We don't want to start a cookie explosion. The room erupted into laughter again, and in that moment she realized they were building something more than cookies. This was about forging a bond, one that could lift them all. As the evening wore on and the last of the cookies were decorated, Laura felt something shifting inside her, a stirring of hope. These moments, these wonderfully chaotic minutes shared among neighbors, felt like pieces of a puzzle slowly falling into place. But just as she began to believe it could last, she heard a voice whisper at the back of her mind, what if tomorrow was just like yesterday? What if the light they created today faded away? Laura shook her head, dismissing the thought. This day had already started to settle deep within her. Then, as she looked around the bakery, the laughter concurrent with the fading daylight, she wondered, how far could this feeling carry her? Could tomorrow bring even more change than today? As she glanced out the window, watching the first stars twinkling to life in the darkening sky, she felt that perhaps, just perhaps, she was on the brink of something that might transform her life forever. And as a group of children ran past her, their laughter trailing behind, another thought struck her. Was she ready to embrace whatever came next? Whatever surprise awaited? The aroma of freshly baked cookies hung thick in the air as the evening deepened. The chatter of children, the occasional burst of laughter, and the soft notes of music playing in the background created a symphony of joy within the bakery. Laura stood behind the counter, watching Jake and Lily working together. Their giggles as they devised plans for the giant cookie made her heart swell. But as she smiled, brushing flour off her hands, her mind tugged at her. Was this magic merely an illusion? Or could they truly build something lasting? Just then a soft voice broke her thoughts. Miss Laura? It was Lily, her little face lit with excitement. Look what we made. She held aloft a giant cookie, still warm, with colorful sprinkles glittering across the top. That's beautiful, Laura exclaimed, pride surging through her. You've done an incredible job. At that moment, Jake rushed over, practically bouncing on his toes. Can we cut it now? I'm starving. The genuine hunger in his eyes mixed with anticipation made her laugh. All right, let us do this. Laura grabbed a shiny knife, ready to slice the creation. As she cut, the sweet aroma wafted towards them, drawing the attention of other children who gathered to watch eagerly. But just as the first piece of cookie slid apart, the bakery door swung open again. This time it was Mr. Dawson, the local store owner, looking somewhat apprehensive. Laura, I hope I'm not interrupting, but I heard voices and laughter from down the street. I had to see for myself. Laura greeted him with a smile, but a hint of tension crept into her words. You're always welcome, Mr. Dawson. We're just cutting a giant cookie. He stepped forward, a flicker of interest lighting his face. Is that a new recipe? Smells fantastic. No, it's just something we whipped up with the kids, Laura replied, motioning to Jake and Lily, who proudly displayed their creation. Well, you've outdone yourself. This community needs more of this, he said, glancing around at the joyful chaos. The children were chatting, their faces smeared with icing and flour, and a sense of warmth wrapped around the bakery. As if sensing the shift, Laura felt her spirits lift. Maybe they really could weave something meaningful, not only for her family but for everyone in their town. But anxiety tried to edge back in, whispering doubts that she would need to confront. After all this, Laura, Mr. Dawson began slowly, I was thinking maybe we could do something bigger next time? A community bake-off or fair. I'd be interested in teaming up to make it happen. The idea took root, and Laura's heart raced at the possibilities. A fair? They could gather more people, more laughter, more memories. Suddenly, the bakery felt significant, not just a place for baked goods, but for connection and community. Yes, that sounds amazing, Laura exclaimed, her voice stronger than she felt. We could invite local vendors and musicians. It may transform the whole town. The excited chatter around them grew louder as they contemplated the plan. Children jumped at the thought of games and contests, and Laura could see the spark in each of their eyes. But just as the conversation flowed, the familiar shadow returned, a fleeting thought that cautioned her. What if they failed? As if sensing her hesitation, Jake laced his fingers through hers, grounding her in the moment. Mom, we can do this, can't we? It'll be epic. She looked into his hopeful eyes, fighting back tears that threatened to spill. Yes, sweetheart. We can. The prospect of embracing the future, of letting go of her fears, began to electrify the air. A plan was forming right there, the universe aligning in a way she hadn't anticipated. But before excitement could take full hold, another worry crept back in, whispering darker possibilities. What if she wasn't enough? With her heart pounding, Laura gazed beyond the bakery window. The night sky shimmered with possibilities, and for the first time in a while, hope felt tangible. As they celebrated their plans, she wondered, could embracing this vision help her break free from her past? Would the community, once a distant dream, now be within reach? And as laughter filled the air once again, Laura stood strong, ready to face whatever changes lay ahead, contemplating how her life might shift with every moment they'd share. The excitement in the bakery crackled like electricity. The chatter of the children overlaid with the scent of freshly baked goods made the space feel alive. Jake, radiating energy, was bouncing from foot to foot. His enthusiasm was infectious, casting away any lingering doubts Laura might have had. Let us write a big list of things to do for the fair, he shouted, pulling Lily along with him to grab a stack of paper and markers from the back of the bakery. As they scrambled and giggled, Laura caught Mr. Dawson's eye, and he smiled knowingly. You've got something special here, Laura. This could bring everyone together. A wave of warmth washed over her. While she had always thought of her bakery as a simple place of solace, now it brimmed with potential to unite the town. She could feel her heart swell with pride. A flicker of hope ignited within her that maybe, just maybe, this was exactly what they needed. While the kids set to work on their list, Laura turned to Mr. Dawson. Thank you for believing in this, she said earnestly. Oh, it's my pleasure. I think it's important for everyone to feel connected, he replied, his eyes twinkling. Especially after everything that's happened in our town lately, we could all use a reminder of what really matters. His words struck a chord. The last few years had been filled with so much uncertainty, the weight of loss lingering over the community like a dark cloud. They needed this, a way to come together, to celebrate life, to heal. Should we schedule a meeting with everyone? The vendors, old friends, even some of the musicians from around here? Laura suggested, her mind racing with possibilities. Absolutely. I can help spread the word, Mr. Dawson said, nodding enthusiastically as the children continued brainstorming their list of ideas. Laura felt a surge of determination. She wouldn't let her fears eclipse the chance to do something meaningful. Just as she opened her mouth to share more ideas, a sudden crash jolted her back to reality. The sound came from the back of the bakery, where boxes of flour and sugar were stored. Her heart raced as she quickly moved to investigate, but as she turned the corner, she stumbled upon a sight that took her breath away. Jake was on the floor, eyes wide, staring at an old trunk. Dust covered its surface, and it was half open, revealing forgotten treasures, a collection of photographs, letters, and recipes. Mom, look! What is this? Jake shouted. Laura's heart sank. She had tucked that trunk away, hiding remnants of her past. The contents represented memories she had tried to bury, reminders of hope and heartache all jumbled together. Jake, please, she said, moving toward him, panic rising in her chest. That's not, but just as she reached him, he pulled out a worn cookbook that fell open to a page filled with handwritten notes. The familiar scrawl was unmistakable, her grandmother's old recipes, laced with memories of laughter and love shared over the kitchen table. But next to one of the recipes, a note caught her eye. Remember who we are. Together is always better. With a lump in her throat, Laura felt the past surging forward, intertwining with her hopes for the future. The fear of failure mixed with something else, something powerful. What if this was not just a moment of nostalgia but a sign? Could the memories of her family empower her to build something new? As Jake continued to explore the trunk, Laura pulled a photograph from the pile. It was of her family at a bake sale long ago, smiling full of joy and dreams. A new wave of determination washed over her, stronger than the doubt that had clouded her earlier. Together, she murmured to herself, understanding that this was not just about her anymore. It was a chance to connect the threads of her past with the community they were beginning to build. "Mom, are you okay?" Jake's voice broke through her thoughts. A smile appeared on her face, filled with newfound courage. "I am, sweetheart. I really am." But just as she began to gather her thoughts, Jake's voice dropped, his expression shifting. "Mom, do you think we can really pull this off? With everything in the trunk, do we have enough time?" Caught in the whirlwind of emotions and memories, Laura realized that the road ahead might hold more challenges than she'd anticipated. But for the first time she wasn't afraid. She felt fueled by the love and support surrounding her, ready to step unknowingly into a journey that would change everything. What if this fair could also mend old wounds? Would it lead to more than just a celebration, but to the healing she longed for? As the air buzzed with laughter and plans, Laura couldn't help but wonder how deeply the past would intertwine with their present. And as the possibilities unfolded, she prepared to embrace whatever lay ahead. Laura took a deep breath as she moved closer to Jake, her heart racing with a blend of excitement and trepidation. The kitchen, once just a setting for baking, felt like a stage for something much bigger, a revival of memories, a canvas for new beginnings. She crouched beside him, glancing at the trunk, its contents spilling over with secrets just waiting to be unveiled. "You know, Jake, this trunk is like a treasure chest," she said softly, trying to reframe the moment's weight. "It holds not just recipes but stories. Stories of our family." His eyes held hers, curiosity and concern mixed with an eagerness that brought her comfort. "Do you think we can use these for the fair?" he asked, his voice laced with hope. It was as if he saw this not just as an event, but as a bridge to connect them all. "Absolutely," she replied, a smile tugging at her lips. A surge of inspiration coursed through her. They could incorporate her grandmother's recipes, share the stories behind each dish, and weave in the warmth of their family history right into the heart of the fair. They began going through the photos together. Each one was a window to a different time, a bustling kitchen filled with laughter, a crowded bake sale with neighbors stopping by for a cupcake, her grandmother teaching her to roll dough with love and patience. The memories spiraled around them, filling the air like the sweet scent of vanilla. Suddenly, they heard the front door of the bakery swing open. "Hello?" came a familiar voice. It was Mrs. Peterson, one of their longtime customers, her cheerful presence always a welcome relief. "Hey, Mrs. P." Jake shouted, his face lighting up. He jumped up, eager to share their discovery. Laura followed him, her heart swelling with purpose. The gathering felt spontaneous but electric. They were sharing memories, memories that had elements of healing and connection, both of which were achingly needed. "What are you two up to?" Mrs. Peterson asked, peering into the trunk. "What's all this?" "We've found Grandma's old recipes," Laura said, her voice full of warmth. "We're planning on using them for the fair." "Oh, that's wonderful." Mrs. Peterson's eyes twinkled. "I remember your grandmother. She made the best blueberry muffins. You know, that recipe was a town favorite." As they continued to speak, other neighbors began trickling in, drawn by the laughter spilling from the bakery. Each person who stepped inside seemed transported back to their childhood comforts, the warmth of the ovens, the chatter of happy customers, the smell of something wonderful baking. Within moments, Jake was recounting his ideas for the fair, the inspiration pouring out of him and igniting the room. Laura felt a wave of gratitude as she watched the sparks spread. They no longer felt isolated. They were a team, united by shared memories and renewed aspirations. "Laura, this is what we need," Mr. Dawson spoke up, a gentle authority in his voice. "Bringing the town together through food and memories is powerful. This can be a celebration of you, your family, and all of us." Her eyes widened. She hadn't realized just how much the fair could resonate beyond her own past. It could honor everything they had built together, combine their histories into something vibrant and alive. Then, as conversations fluttered among the guests, Laura felt it, the heaviness of her fears for the fair easing, becoming lighter. But in the distance, a whisper of doubt lingered. Was she truly ready to confront her past in front of the whole town? Would they understand the depth of emotion that came with every recipe and every dish? Jake's hand slipped into hers. "Mom, you've got this, right?" he said, his voice steady with belief. "Right," she replied, squeezing his hand. She met his gaze head-on, standing tall against the tide of uncertainty. But just as the energy surged in the bakery, something else pulled at her. It was a realization that felt like an impending storm of fear that somehow, bringing the past to light might reveal more than memories. It might unearth things better left buried, and then with the clamor around her fading, one thought pierced through the noise. What would they all uncover together when the fair arrived? Would Laura be ready to embrace not just the memories, but the hidden sorrows they carried along with them? Her mind raced, caught between the excitement of rekindling connections and the shadows of what those connections might reveal. She knew there was no turning back now. The fair was on the horizon, and with it loomed an undeniable question. Was it truly going to bring everyone closer together, or would it unravel more than she dared to face? The day of the community baking fair arrived, and the sun beamed down on Laura's bakery, casting golden glimmers through the windows. The smell of sugar and spice mingled in the air, wrapping around her like a warm hug. As she set up the tables outside, she paused to take it all in. The chatter of families, the laughter of children, and the buzz of anticipation filled the atmosphere like a festival. She felt Jake's reassuring hand on her back. "This is it, Mom. Can you believe how many people showed up?" He beamed as he gestured towards the crowd, pointing out neighbors and children from the schools they'd visited. "Never in my wildest dreams," Laura replied, her voice a mix of disbelief and pride. Moments like these had felt so far away. But now, standing amidst the community she had worried about losing, it felt real. So much had transformed within her heart as guests began to gather around the tables filled with their baked goods. The realization washed over Laura. This was not just about cookies and cakes. It was about connection, shared stories, and embracing the spirit of family. A knot of anxiety loosened as she watched people mingle. Emily and Jake busied themselves with the decorating station, laughter erupting over frosting mishaps and sprinkles that flew like confetti. Nearby, a group of children excitedly consulted the baking contest rules. They were ready to make their mark. Laura remained at the entrance, welcoming each familiar face as they arrived, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Laura," Mrs. Roberts called out, her apron dusted with flour. "Everything looks incredible. I can't wait to taste your grandmother's blueberry muffins." "Thank you. I hope they remind everyone of the warm memories, just like they do for me," Laura responded, feeling the words resonate with her own journey. Then she heard him, Mr. Dawson, engaging with a group of neighbors, his voice powerful and inviting. "Today is a celebration of our shared history. Let us honor what has made our community strong." Every cheer from the crowd echoed the life she had rekindled, igniting a spark of hope within her. Suddenly, Emily excitedly rushed over, her eyes wide with excitement. "Mom, the kids are ready for the cookie decorating contest. You should see how serious they get." The sight of delighted children shedding their inhibitions over frosting brought laughter bubbling up in her chest. "Let us go then," Laura called, eager to share in the moment. As they made their way to the tables, Laura caught sight of Jake kneeling next to a young boy, carefully explaining how to create a frosting design. Seeing their connection made Laura's heart soar. She had worried about Jake stepping into her late husband's shoes, but instead he was creating a path forward not just for himself, but for the entire community. After hours of baking, laughter, and friendly competition, the sun began to set, casting hues of oranges and pinks across the sky. The event had been a whirlwind of joy, but now, as the energy faded into gentle conversations, Laura glanced around, noticing not just tired faces, but fulfilled ones blooming with connection. "Mom, this was epic," Jake exclaimed, returning with arms full of colorful decorated cookies. "Did you see how engaged everyone was? We created something special." Laura nodded, her heart filling with warmth. "It truly feels extraordinary," she whispered, still soaking in the memories created. Then she turned to Emily, who was nestled beside her, eyes bright with joy. "I'm so proud of us together," Laura said. Each word reflected a change not just in her bakery, but within her. She understood now this was not just a business. This was a bridge to healing, a well of love for the community, a heart waiting to embrace what lay ahead. Just then Mr. Dawson stepped forward, raising a cookie high in the air. "Let us celebrate what we've built today: community, memories, and hope." Applause erupted, echoing around the bakery as they cheered for their collective achievement. Laura felt the tension leave her body completely. She had stepped beyond her past and embraced this new chapter woven from love and resilience. Moments later, as the last lanterns flickered on, Laura stood surrounded by the laughter of her friends and the joy of her son and daughter. Tears brimmed in her eyes not from sadness, but from the realization of her transformation. It was a moment sealed in memory. Together, she whispered to herself, knowing that while they honored the past, they were finally looking towards a future they could shape as a family. With tears of happiness glistening, she felt an overwhelming sense of peace. Today had marked not just a community gathering, but a rebirth for herself, for Jake, for Emily, and for their little bakery. They had woven a tapestry of connection that would continue to bring warmth and love long after the baking was done. As laughter filled the air once again, Laura smiled, embodying the spirit of family she'd longed for. They were ready for whatever lay ahead, ready to embrace their transformed lives with open arms. And now, dear friends, it's your turn. Don't miss a moment of this journey or the next heartwarming story. Subscribe immediately to our channel to unlock exclusive tales of transformation. Leave a like now to feed the hungry algorithm that thrives on your support. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this inspiring ending. We want to hear from you. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness the beauty of connection and community. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.